In today's video, we're diving deep into a controversial topic that's been making waves across the nation. The government's apparent silence on grant cuts has left many citizens confused and concerned. But a newly surfaced report tells a different story. Stay tuned as we uncover the truth behind these funding changes and what they mean for you. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into today's explosive topic, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more investigative content like this. And if you find this information valuable, smash that like button, it really helps the channel grow. The recent silence from government officials regarding widespread grant cuts has left many Americans searching for answers. While press conferences have been notably absent and official statements remain vague, a comprehensive report has emerged that sheds new light on what's really happening behind closed doors. Today, we're going to break down this report and expose what the government isn't telling you. Let's start with some context. Over the past decade, federal grants have been a crucial lifeline for numerous sectors, from education and healthcare to scientific research and community development. These grants have historically supported millions of Americans, either directly through social programs or indirectly through institutional funding. However, in recent months, numerous organizations have reported unexpected reductions in their funding, with little to no explanation from official channels. The report we're discussing today, compiled by independent policy analysts and economic researchers, presents a startling contrast to the government's silent stance. According to the document, which spans over 300 pages, the cuts aren't random or unplanned, they're part of a calculated strategy that's been in development for the past 18 months. The most concerning aspect? The public was never meant to know about it until after the changes were fully implemented. Let's break down the numbers, because they're truly staggering. The report indicates that grant funding across all sectors is facing an average reduction of 23% over the next 3 years. Education grants are looking at a 27% cut. Healthcare research grants could see up to 31% reduction. And community development programs might face a whopping 35% decrease in funding. These aren't just numbers on a page, they represent real impacts on real people's lives. What's particularly interesting is the timeline revealed in the report. Internal government communications, obtained through Freedom of Information Act requests, show that these cuts were initially proposed in early 2022. The strategy was developed through a series of closed-door meetings involving senior officials from various departments, but notably excluding public consultation or input from affected stakeholders. The report also highlights something that many have suspected but couldn't prove: the redistribution of funds. While some sectors are facing severe cuts, others are seeing substantial increases in funding allocation. Defense contractors, certain technology initiatives, and specific infrastructure projects are actually seeing budget increases of up to 40%. This raises serious questions about priorities and the decision-making process behind these changes. One of the most concerning aspects revealed in the report is the potential long-term impact on research and development. Universities and research institutions, which heavily depend on federal grants, are expected to face significant challenges. The report estimates that approximately 30% of ongoing research projects might need to be suspended or terminated due to funding cuts. This could set back scientific progress in crucial areas like medical research, climate change studies, and technological innovation. The social impact of these cuts cannot be understated. The report includes detailed projections showing that approximately 2.3 million Americans could be directly affected by reduced access to services and programs funded by federal grants. This includes everything from after-school programs and job training initiatives to healthcare services and elderly care programs. What's particularly troubling is the apparent attempt to minimize public awareness of these changes. The report includes internal communications suggesting a deliberate strategy to gradually implement cuts while maintaining minimal public communication. This approach seems designed to avoid public outcry and resistance to the changes, essentially keeping citizens in the dark about decisions that directly affect their lives. The economic implications are equally concerning. The report projects that these grant cuts could lead to job losses in various sectors, with an estimated 150,000 positions at risk over the next 5 years. This includes not only direct program staff but also support personnel and associated industry workers. The ripple effect could impact local economies, particularly in regions heavily dependent on grant-funded programs and research facilities. But perhaps the most revealing aspect of the report is its exposure of the decision-making process. Through detailed analysis of internal documents and communications, it becomes clear that these cuts weren't made purely for budgetary reasons. There appears to be a broader strategic shift in government priorities, one that wasn't disclosed to or discussed with the public. The report also highlights significant disparities in how these cuts are being distributed geographically. Some states and regions are facing disproportionately larger reductions in funding compared to others, raising questions about the equity and fairness of the decision-making process. The data suggests that rural areas and smaller cities might bear the brunt of these cuts, potentially widening the existing gap between urban and rural communities. What's particularly frustrating is the lack of transparency around alternative solutions that were considered. The report indicates that several other proposals were presented during the planning phase, including options that would have maintained funding levels through various efficiency measures and resource reallocation strategies. However, these alternatives were dismissed with minimal discussion or consideration. The timing of these cuts is also noteworthy. They come at a period when many communities are still recovering from recent economic challenges and global events. The report suggests that this timing could exacerbate existing social and economic disparities, potentially undoing years of progress in various areas of development and research. Looking at the international perspective, the report includes a comparative analysis showing how these cuts could affect America's competitive position globally. In areas like scientific research, technological development, and education, other countries are actually increasing their grant funding, potentially giving them a significant advantage in these crucial fields. The report doesn't just highlight problems, it also includes potential solutions and recommendations. These range from immediate actions to mitigate the impact of the cuts to long-term strategies for maintaining essential programs and services. However, without public awareness and pressure, these recommendations are likely to remain just that, recommendations. As we wrap up this analysis, it's clear that the government's silence on these grant cuts masks a complex and concerning reality. The information revealed in this report raises serious questions about transparency, accountability, and the future of crucial programs and services that millions of Americans depend on. What can you do about this? First, stay informed. Share this information with others who might be affected by these changes. Contact your representatives and demand transparency and accountability. The power to influence these decisions ultimately lies with an informed and engaged public. Before we end this video, I want to thank you for staying with me through this important discussion. If you found this information valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with anyone who needs to know about these changes. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated on more investigative content like this. Remember, knowledge is power, and the more we know about these decisions affecting our lives, the better equipped we are to respond and act. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.